Hi there, I'm Suzanne, your friendly Stampin' Up demonstrator in Canada. Welcome to my monthly paper pumpkin alternative video on my YouTube channel and blog. I share 5 alternative ways to use the kit in this video, and I sell the products I feature as well. I hope you enjoy my free video tutorial and would love to see you sign up with me as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. Visit sunstampin.com for more information. The March 2020 Paper Pumpkin Kit is absolutely so cute. The stamp set is called No Matter the Weather, and some really timely sentiments, I have to say. There were clouds and a few raindrops and 3 different hearts. And then we got a free stamp set called Spring Splash Stamp Set, and I'm going to do another video very similar to the Paper Pumpkin. I'm calling it Paper Pumpkin Part 2, and I will feature this free stamp set in that. All right, so these are the projects, how you were supposed to put them together, and it has instructions, and we got the basic gray Stampin' Spot and card bases and envelopes and die cuts and twine and dewdrop embellishments, dimensionals, and that sort of thing, and you can put them together. What I ended up doing was taking one element from the entire box, and I'm going to create with this. I also did the cards as they were intended as well. So this is my first alternative for you. I have the envelope paper here, and I have used my paper trimmer to cut it down to the size of 1 3/4 by 3.5. And the blue sky, this piece here, this was a card front separating the gray bit, and I just have blue. So I have cut that down to 3.5 by 3.5. Just double checking my measurements here. So of course I've always suggested that you use a Whisper White thick card base when it comes to alternatives. Well, if you're wanting to duplicate my alternatives, and that is the card base that I will be using for all of the alternatives this time around. And I should put a caveat in there that I also like black sentiments. So I struggle with different colored sentiments. I'm not really that fond of them unless it's absolutely needed. So just a little caveat there. If you wanted to duplicate the designs as I have created them, you might want to pick yourself up some black ink. All right, you can see what I've done here. I have wrapped the twine 3 times around my card base. I have stuck the envelope paper and the card front together. I'm taping that twine just with some Scotch tape, and there's also a cat hair included in that as well for, you know, no one to know, but it happens. The problem is real. All right, and put dimensionals on the back of that, and that is going to be the card front. I'm also going to tie a double bow. So 2 strings together, and then I'm just going to loop it into the bunny ears, go wrapping around, and then pull through. Really simple. I'm not tightening it until I get it to the size that I want, and then I will cut off the tails so that it is shorter. And with those boots and the daisy flowers, I think they're daisies, well, they might be roses, tulips, I don't know, springtime flowers coming out of the boots. I put dimensional adhesive on the back of that, and I am adhering it to the card front there. So I'm using a glue dot that came in the kit. Surprisingly, I hardly ever use them. And I'm putting that with on the knot of the bow, and I'm going to adhere that right in the front. Pressing down with the lid of my paper piercer, or my take your pick tool, I should say. Now I have inked up the sentiment, "You are capable of amazing things," and I did stamp that in the basic gray that came in the kit. Figured I'd give it, like, you know, a one-time shot. I think it would have looked better if it had been black, however. So I have this sentiment strip that came in the kit. I cut it down just with my paper trimmer, and I am adhering it on the card base with some dry adhesive. And you can see that I've lined everything up special, and then folded the card base in half, and I've come in with some Wink of Stella. By the way, the Wink of Stella is on low inventory right now, so if you can beat me to the online store before I get the rest of it, you're going to be lucky. All right, moving on to card number 2. These are the supplies that I'm going to use. The card base, or the note card base, I'm cutting in half, and I will be cutting down the white piece a little bit later. This is the envelope, and like I said, I sacrificed one of everything from this really cute kit in order to make alternatives. I have cut down the envelope piece to 4 7/8 inches high and 3 3/4 inches wide. And I'm double measuring because that white piece is going to get cut down to 4 3/8 inch tall and 3 1/4 inch wide. Then I'm going to fussy cut this lady out with my trusty paper snips. Again, trying to stay as close to the line as I can. I don't want much of that blue to show, but I didn't cut up in between her boots just because I thought it would look silly. So I left that intact. All right, I saved my scraps, by the way, because a little bit later I'll be using it in another card. This is my Stamparatus grid mat that I have laminated, so it is a non-porous surface, so that I don't have to get my desk all ooky when I'm sponging. I am sponging with So Saffron ink, which happens to be my favorite yellow. I have placed the hearts in a unique pattern on my block, and I am stamping down on that little piece of paper, trying to make the hearts look like raindrops. And now I'm going to adhere everything together. So just with some dry adhesive, I'm taking that sponged piece, I'm going to add it to the envelope paper, and then I am going to put dimensional adhesive on the back of that, and then again wrap the old olive twine, I think, or maybe pear pizzazz twine around the base of the card front there, and I'm just using Scotch tape to adhere it. And now I am removing the dimensional adhesive backing and placing that card front on the front of the card. I also popped this girl up, and I did want to make sure that there's a lot of dimensional adhesive, because I am going to come in with some fine tip glue pen and make her umbrella and her rain boots shine. Here is the sentiment. Again, I used the Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp that. I like black sentiments. And I have cut this down with my paper snips, and I'm separating the entire sentiment now. So it's going to read the same on the card. It's just not going to be all jammed together. This is a way that you can, paper piece your sentiments together. Say if you didn't like a section of the sentiment, or if it, if you just wanted to create some different interest on your card. And these are the dimensionals that came in the kit. They're full size. And so I am just cutting off a very thin strip. And then I'm sort of sizing the sentiments and trimming off some adhesive that will fit behind those sentiments. I take the release paper off and adhere the dimensional strip adhesive, and then I can remove the other side of the release paper, and you can see I'm just gently placing them on my card. I will move them to my will if I want. Sorry for my sticky out hair there. I didn't realize that my ponytail was so in the way. Anyway, I have some raindrops. These are rain and dewdrop embellishments that come in the kit, and I am just doing it on the left side of the card where her umbrella is not covering, and I thought it was a nice little addition. So Wink of Stella on her umbrella for sure. And then I am covering the umbrella and her boots with the fine tip glue pen. It comes out quite liquidy, as you can see, so covering this area is not a problem, or such a large area, I should say. One of the things that I would make mention is that when you put dimensional adhesive on, make sure that you're putting it on everywhere that you think that the glue is going to go, because that the glue is heavy and it could bow your paper. So just have that in mind when you're putting your dimensional adhesive. I had to let that sit and dry for a little bit, about an hour or so. All right, moving on to card number 3. These are the supplies that I used. I threw in some basic black card. So I am cutting down the envelope paper, and I cut that down to 4 inches tall and 5 1/4 inches wide. The black is 3 1/4 inches tall and 5 1/2 inches wide, and the whisper white piece is 3 inches tall and 5 1/2 inches wide. I am sponging on balmy blue on this white piece. I'm doing about 2/3 of it in the balmy blue, and then I'm coming in with shaded spruce for the other side. So basically I'm just creating a scene. The blue is kind of representative of the sky, and the green is kind of representative of the grass. And when I'm finished here, I cleaned up a little bit, and then I am using the raindrops that came in the kit, the stamp. I am also using the basic gray color that came in the kit, and I am stamping off. So my basic gray, I think, is different than the basic gray that came in the kit. It's the same color, but the formulation is different. This is an archival, and I'm not 100% sure if the basic gray that came in the kit is archival or not. But anyway, it was pretty strong. And so I tapped it off, and I am doing generational stamping all along the balmy blue color. And you can see I just wanted to make it look like it's raining. And then I am using a different adhesive today. This is Tombow glue or wet glue, and I chose that so that I can wiggle this little whisper white piece into place as I wanted it. I also took my bone folder and scored away any sort of wrinkle that came with the envelope. I was kind of hoping that you wouldn't be able to see it, and you can't if you gently rub your bone folder along that crease. Well, it's less noticeable. Let's put it that way. I've put dimensional adhesive or Stampin' Dimensionals on the back side of my card front, and I'm placing this strip probably about 1/2 inch from the bottom part of the card. I have dimensional adhesive on my boots, and then I am inking up the sentiment, and the sentiment says, wishing you brighter days ahead. I have a stamp that in shaded spruce and then once again in So Saffron. Now the colors that I got are just from the back of the paper that comes in the kit, and it tells you the coordinating Stampin' Up colors. So I don't really have to think about the colors that I have used for my alternatives because these are kind of already there for me. So that took a little bit of pressure off. So I took the brighter days sentiment and snipped that off. So that was in So Saffron. And then I've put a little bit of dimensional adhesive, the strip, saying you saw me do it before. And now I'm going to adhere that to the shaded spruce. And it's funny because I did do this version in black and it didn't look good. So here I'm going on about how much I don't like colored sentiments, but this was a case where I did like it. I just didn't like it in gray or black. So it kind of goes, I don't know, it went for me. So I've put glue, wet glue or multi-purpose wet glue on the back of that sentiment. And again, I'm going over with my fine tip glue pen, and I am going all over these rubber boots, and I'm going in with a little pin afterwards, and I'm poking any little bubbles that I may see. That's the only problem sometimes that you may get when you are using the fine tip glue pen. Okay, so card number 4, I said I was a toss-up for me if this was my favorite or number 2 was my favorite. Here I have the negative part of the circles that were sentiment circles that we were supposed to use in the kit. So I am just kind of thinking that everybody did their kit the way they were supposed to, and maybe you have maybe a few little components left over. So you can do the same as I'm doing here. This is a Whisper White thick card base, and I have some Post-it notes, and I am coming in with this is called a toothbrush handled makeup brush. You'll find it at Amazon. Everybody asks, so I figure I'll just give the information straight away so you don't have to ask. These are small, and the reason why I didn't use my sponges is because anytime that I'm using a mask, I find that these brushes give me a far greater, like crisper line. I appreciate these when I'm using masks. I would not like sponge a whole large area with these brushes because I find that they don't go on as smoothly as I would like. I have better control when it comes to the sponges. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm using the top right for Balmy Blue, and then I'm using my Post-it notes as a mask to cover up the positions that I don't want. And then I'm coming in with Pear Pizzazz, and I'm getting the bottom part of the circle. And I will just move my mask, my homemade mask, to another area and repeat this pattern. So you can see how I'm doing that. I line that up with that circle, and I put on the Post-it notes, and you can find Post-it notes at your dollar store. And actually, from what I was told, you can find something similar in the brushes anyway. This maybe a sponge, toothbrush handled sponge at the dollar store too. One of my team members told me that. Thank you for that tip, Sandra. And I did want to make mention that my next paper pumpkin video will be coming out on April the 29th. For those of you who like to ask me when the paper pumpkin's coming out, I've started to schedule them into my regular broadcasting to make my life easy and so that I don't feel so much pressure when people ask. So the next paper pumpkin video will be out on April the 29th. Unless something drastic happens. And I also wanted to say that, the Wink of Stella is running out. So I have to make an order for the Wink of Stella because I cannot be on isolation detail without my Wink of Stella. I used it a lot in this video for sure. And I'm looking forward to creating my paper pumpkin part 2. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. While you're watching this video right now, I'm probably creating designs for that video. All right, now I'm finally done. I wanted to show you the whole process because I didn't want anybody to be confused on how I did that. So remember how we cut that lady out of the paper? So I told you to save the extra. So I saved a piece that was 1.5 inches tall and 3.5 inches wide. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment in black on sort of that lighter color side, not the whole entire blue. And then I'm putting Stampin' Dimensionals all along the back of that sentiment piece. I think I'm gonna have to pick up some Stampin' Dimensionals. I might be an abuser. Oh boy. Okay, so and now I've cut those boots. I've separated them. So and on the let's see. So I had to put double Stampin' Dimensionals on the bottom of the green one and the top of the blue one so that they would be even with the sentiment. Now here's my Wink of Stella. I've squeezed a little bit out onto a block and I'm flicking droplets and large droplets all over this card because I thought it looked cool. So, and you can see I had a big droplet there and I almost wiped it up and then I was like, you know what? Forget about it. I like it. I like just the way it is. And I was really heavy-handed. And then I was so heavy-handed that it went all along my workstation. And I ended up having to sparkle my entire workstation before I can continue. De-sparkle. And this is the final card. All right, so this is my last and final card. I have 3 colors here: Petal Pink, So Saffron, Calypso Coral. I also have the remainder of those rain boots. And I have basically taken about 1/2 inch from the bottom and 1/2 inch from the top. Or actually, it's more like 1 inch. It's 1 inch from the crease and 1 inch from the bottom. And then on every 1/2 inch line, I'm drawing a line. And I'm doing this because I'm going to be repeated stamping across my page and I want it to be straight. So I'm starting off with So Saffron. I'm stamping off using this line stamp. I'm not even exactly sure to tell you what this is supposed to be. It's in the kit. It looks kind of like it's trying to be Wet Road, maybe. I don't know. I just liked it's a really cool texture. So the first line I did in So Saffron, I stamped off. And then the second line that I am doing is So Saffron straight up. Then I will do the same thing with Petal Pink. I stamp off for this one. So I'm just getting a different color of pink. And then I will full strength pink, petal pink after. And then I will go into the Calypso Coral. And same thing here. I stamp off. I twist my stamp so that it matches up really nicely. And it actually really did work quite well, actually, by flipping it around. And then full strength with the Calypso Coral. And I ended up having to put another line of the full strength Calypso Coral on the bottom. And then I also went in and did another full line of the So Saffron on the top, because the lines that I were making was not, it wasn't big enough for the look that I was going for. And then, of course, I carefully erased my pencil lines. And then I put dimensional adhesive on those 3 little boots. And then I stamped with Memento Tuxedo Black ink for this sentiment. And I don't think Stampin' Up, put this particular kit together with this whole COVID-19 pandemic in mind. I think that this was planned months ahead. And the fact that the sentiment says, no matter what the weather, we're in this together. Like, do you not think that that is probably the most apt sentiment? It just happened to come out this month, and this whole pandemic thing is all about us being in it together. Like, no one is struggling through this alone. We are all there together. So anyway, that I just felt that it was kind of very extremely timely. I have, this is called Shimmery Crystal Effects. And this came through the Christmas catalog, and I checked before I went on here to chat with you, and I found out that it is still available. So if you wanted this Crystal Effects, it is very inexpensive. It's under $10 Canadian, and it is a very thick and shiny glue, really. And that is my final card. So thank you for joining me, and I will catch you again soon. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.